And to start the show off today, I would like to bring in Vikings team reporter Eric Smith. Eric, after a long offseason, football is finally back.
It's back. It's back. I mean, it's probably going to look a little bit different than it has in years past, and we all have to kind of make those changes and adapt. But yeah, football is back, and the Vikings are back. The team is back together for the first time in person since mid-January, and training camp is on the horizon.
Training camp is on the horizon, and no better way to start training camp by signing your head coach to a new extension. 3-year extension announced July 24th, Mike Zimmer. Just got extended. What does that mean for this offense? Or not offense, but just for this team in general?
It's a big step. It was big news for Coach Zimmer, who signed a 3-year extension. He's 57-38-1 as the head coach of the Vikings. He's entering year number 7, believe it or not. And I think the big thing about the team and Coach Zimmer now is that, and Coach Zimmer said this himself, the team can continue taking swings at the ultimate goal, which we know is to deliver a first championship, a first Super Bowl here to Minnesota. Now with Coach Zimmer under contract for the next 4 years, the whole team can look forward to accomplishing that goal.
For sure, and Coach Zimmer, he will have to adjust like every other head coach in this NFL. It's been some unprecedented circumstances with COVID-19 going on, so with those circumstances, there will be no preseason games. With that said, this will allow players to have a more ramp-up time to get their bodies in shape. There'll be a week and a half of strength and conditioning, simply just that, and then players will get on the field and actually put pads on. So this will allow the players to get their bodies prepared, get their bodies ready. And even with that said, there will be the rosters. I mean, the rosters will look a little bit different. I'll let you touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so, it's going to be different, and as Gabe mentioned, the first 2 weeks of training camp is almost going to be like the first 2 weeks of the off-season program. There's going to be a week or so of strength and conditioning. There's going to be a week or so of off-season practices with no pads. And as Gabe alluded to, a big date is August 16th. That's when all NFL rosters have to be down to 80 players. We'll see how the Vikings approach that, but that's an important date because that's when pads are probably going to come on as well. The first 2 weeks are probably going to be with no pads. And as Gabe mentioned, there's no preseason games this year. So something Coach Zimmer mentioned is that he's going to have to get his team ready for live action without preseason, whether that's more live contact in practice, whether that's more game-like situations during camp. Everyone's going to have to adapt, and Coach Zimmer is going to be the one leading the charge for the Vikings.
For sure. You talk about everyone having to adapt. It's been an interesting offseason for the Vikings. We talk about Michael Pierce, Tajay Sharp, the free agent signings, and then offensive coordinator Gary Kubiak, he was announced, and then you have 2 defensive coordinators, Adam Zimmer and Andre Patterson. I mean, it's been an interesting offseason, but the 2 big points for me that really stand out is the draft record, 15 rookies signed this year, and then Kirk Cousins signing his extension this offseason. So what does all of these culmination of events mean to you?
Yeah, the Vikings set a 7-round record, as Gabe mentioned, with 15 rookies. To me, I have my eye on 3 rookies, and that's the first 3 players the Vikings selected. That's first rounders, wide receiver Justin Jefferson and cornerback Jeff Gladney, and second rounder Ezra Cleveland. I think Jefferson and Gladney have real chances to be immediate starters in year 1. There's roster spots available and playing time available at wide receiver and cornerback. And then it kind of remains to be seen at offensive line, how those 5 guys shake out up front. Cleveland can play left tackle. He played that at Boise State. He can also move inside to left guard. So the Vikings are going to have to depend on their 15 rookies a lot. And those 3 guys are going to be key contributors to the team in 2020.
You talk about the rookies. A guy that really stands out to me right now is Justin Jefferson, and you got to have a person that's throwing the ball, which Kirk Cousins, I don't think there's anyone on the team more excited than Kirk Cousins to have the opportunity to play with a guy like Justin Jefferson. Here's what he had to say about the upcoming opportunity.
We were able to spend, like I said, a couple days together and throw. A couple things I noticed about his skill set is he had a really large catch radius. So when the ball was thrown far off to his right or left, he had an ability to reach for it and extend and cover a lot of ground with the ball in the air, adjusting to it. And I think that's a skill that obviously receivers need to have, but a lot of guys who are wired to just run fast may not have that ability to adjust to a ball and kind of expand their radius. So that was a subtle thing I noticed. He's just a fluid athlete. And, as a quarterback, you really like the guys who are natural receivers as opposed to just really good athletes. And from what I could gather, Justin's a natural receiver. Playing that position kind of comes instinctively to him.